So the Rosewood Massacre apparently had started out with a lie. I only know the official death total. 8 is the official figure, but 150 in some reports. So 150. I believe this because this happened during, there was mass lynchings, the 1917, 1919, 1921, 1923. The Elaine race riot in Arkansas happened in 1919. The East St. Louis riots happened in 1917. The Rosewood Massacre happened in 1923. The Tulsa race riots happened in 1921. That's when American planes were dropping dynamite on American homes. And these race riots wasn't like even black versus white. This is just whites going into black neighborhoods and massacring people. So 150 people were massacred in Rosewood, Florida, 1923. 150. And then you had Elaine race riot. Looking at this meme, and it's just pointing out that the East St. Louis massacre is 200 to 700 deaths. The Arkansas massacre, 854 deaths. Tulsa massacre, 300 to 3,000 deaths. And the Rosewood massacre, 150 deaths. All those are greater than 59. 150, 308, 54, 200. Tulsa massacre, 300 to 3,000. How do you get such a huge discrepancy? Before it was 50 to 300, and I believe the 300, but it could be 3,000, right? Whites just go into black neighborhoods, killing, whoever they can, probably just leaving them their bodies to rot, and then they have to pick up their bodies and, pick up the pieces, and where they're supposed to write down this historical, data, document this stuff for future generations, for posterity. They need to survive first. So East St. Louis riots, this is 1917. Woodrow Wilson is the president. 40 black people. It's Tulsa race riots is 300. East St. Louis riots, it's saying at least 40 black folks, right, in Wikipedia. So 40 is less than 59, but this meme had said that it was 200 to 700. So still a lot of people. 40 is unnecessary, but it would be smaller. The 40 would be smaller, but the 100 to 237 black folks were killed in the Elaine, Arkansas race riot of 1919 when Woodrow Wilson was president. He was president from 1913 to 1921. So interesting that Woodrow Wilson, who said the birth of a nation was like writing history with lightning, so he's a racist. The birth of a nation, birth of a nation was the KKK came and gloriously saved the country because blacks were taken over. And he's like, unfortunately, it's like writing history with lightning because it's so true. That's what 2009, the Pentagon got the NFL players to stand up at the sidelines for the anthem since 2009. Since 2009. So that means it's only, we've been doing this standing up for the pledge for the last 8 years. And it's total propaganda. It's total the Pentagon, forcing, I guess, patriotism on the rest of us. Look at, your superstars, your NFL players are all obedient and patriotic to the flag, so you need to be too. This is since 2009. They weren't doing it before 2009, so this is them standing and saluting and, basically just being like the part of the Nazi youth. I mean, before the Bellamy salute was like this. So I don't know if you've ever seen the old American flags and the kids, doing the pledge, but this is the Bellamy salute. This is what all the kids were doing in the United States with the Pledge of Allegiance. Danger is over, it's sad, it's horrible, now we got to pick up the pieces, but just everybody I think should calm down because ultimately it's still very unlikely that you'll get shot by a terrorist. And next time you go to a concert, be more vigilant and look over this and look over that. If you hear something, I guess start running. There's no fucking way you could have prevented something like this except for giving a shit about that guy. But overall, in terms of statistics, we are more likely to be murdered by the police than we are by any terrorist. There's, over 1,000 people or 900 people that have been killed by the police this year, over 1,000 in the last 2 years. So that's way more than 58. We're more likely to die by choking on food. We're more likely to die by lightning strike than by a shark attack, being burned alive, a parachuting accident, drowning in our own bathtub, or getting killed by We're more likely to drown in a bathtub than to get killed by terrorists. We're more likely to have a parachuting accident than get killed by terrorists. More likely to get killed by a teddy bear tripping over it or, you know, getting smothered, the babies put it in their mouth. So there are teddy bear accidents, being burned alive, being attacked by a shark, being electrocuted by lightning strike, dying by choking on food. These are all greater threats to Americans than any kind of terrorism. So that's important to know. So, you know, calm down. It's over. It's fucking horrible. What the fuck? You know, why the fuck did that shit happen? Senseless. Absolute fucking insanity. Senseless. It is pure evil. And, you know, it's fucking bullshit. It's just... So, anyways, Chris Kyle, he killed 150 people, right? And the greatest sniper ever, 150, 160 people. So that's greater than 59. He killed 150. For the discrepancy over Rosewood, Florida, there was 8 was the official total, and then 150 were the historical reports. So which one's true? The historical reports or the, you know, the official account? 8? How the fuck did they underestimate that much? Only 8 bodies? And yet some people are saying 150. So which one's true? And what the fuck is this shit about? Last thing I want to mention is the amount of Americans that die right now. Poverty is a death sentence. Homelessness is. 45,000 Americans will die this year from a lack of health care. Over 900 Americans have been killed by the police. 163 Americans were killed from the string of hurricanes this year. So climate change killed 163 people. Lack of health care killed 45,000 Americans. 163 Americans were killed by climate change. 45,000 Americans were killed by lack of health care. And then there's the St. Patrick's Day Massacre of 2000. Oh, he was bragging that he killed 100 and 160 people. Then he said he was sniping folks in New Orleans during Katrina. He said he was on top of the Superdome sniping a bunch of looters. So Chris Kyle, he's sniping a bunch of looters, and does that add to the 160? So 160 kills, and then how many people he killed in New Orleans, right? So maybe what, 170, 180? No telling how many people he killed in New Orleans. The St. Patrick's Day Massacre of 2017 was the bombing of Mosul. 276 innocents were killed at the bombing of Mosul. And then the day after, 40 Syrians were killed by our bombs, a 500-pound bomb. 97 fishermen were killed in Benghazi earlier this year by Cameroon forces. And we're in Cameroon right now. So 97 people died in Benghazi. 163 people died by the hurricanes. 45,000. All these are above 59 deaths. Last thing I'm going to mention is this video that just came out. It looks pretty fucked up. It looks like the sound is almost identical to the flashing to the shots.
Right there, baby.
That's
Fourth floor, not the 32nd.
This is
Right
one
there.
more time.
And notice the sound is off with the light because he's filming from a throw distance.
Is it some other flashing thing? Seems like, you know, there are some reports that there are other snipers, and then there's the idea, man, it kind of feels like I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but it kind of feels like he's, you know, here and there, got a hunting license in Alaska, and he's, you know, it very much feels like he could be a spy. He could be a spy. He got into some shit, had to do this for the fucking insurance to help his family or some shit. I don't know. 19 fucking guns into the hotel. How did nobody see that? 19 fucking guns, and then he's just shooting, and, you know, until they come and get him. It just seems, you know, very peculiar, very bizarre. Without a motive, I don't know what the fuck, why this happened. And that's, I guess I need some answers.